Can you hear us now? Because there is something happening here. They say join your call.
There it is.
There it is. Can you hear us now?
There it is. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Power.
So
Power. I have no idea.
Power on the
let me-
speakers. There it is.
Ay,
Perfect.
sorry.
Now it's
And
done.
because we tried to get this image in the Facebook Live too, so it's a little crazy, these
Yeah,
platforms.
perfect. Perfect. You must have some big satellite on your rooftop.
Yeah.
We have to. It's not so easy, this.
Yeah. So since I see you have a lot of instruments in the back, just start play something. You know.
Well,
Entertain me. It's evening here. I need some entertainment.
A little bit. Maybe you have to come here
Yeah.
and play a little the
you
guitar.
have to learn me.
Yeah, just imagine like in a couple of years and maybe 10 years or so, we can finally beam ourselves somewhere, you know? That would
Yeah.
be crazy. Yeah, you know, having live interviews somewhere in the world, you know, you would just,
Insane.
yeah, you would just beam yourself somewhere, you know?
Yeah. So you have a lot of interviews these days, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So since a couple of weeks. It's a lot, but we're 7 members in a band, so we kind of split
Have to
a
share
lot
a
of the
little
work,
bit.
you know, we split the work, so it's good.
And tomorrow you're going to release the new album.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. You know, the funny thing is that I wasn't so excited first, you know, because it's been a while ago since we recorded the album, and now that it's happening, and you know, and then also because of the pandemic, everybody was kind of frustrated, you know, and then
Yeah.
suddenly when all these interviews came along, and we received the response of people, which was always very positive, that created a little hype within the band, you know, so everybody's like, oh, interviews are fun actually, and yeah, we have an album that comes out great, you know, so nice.
So how do you feel about this album from the last albums? What's the difference?
Yeah, I would say of course there's more energy in there because it's just two people more people bring in more energy, and hey, I gotta say that from the touring on, because the tour was very successful, you know, we came off with a tour in Brazil with Scorpions and Whitesnake,
Ah,
and which was crazy because the last year we played Rock in Rio, and you know, hundred thousands of people, and we were so hyped and we were so on fire to record the album, and you know, we knew that we would have a bit more time. We could try out stuff. We had more producers than usual. There was Charlie Bauerfeind, of course. You know, he's part of the family already, and then we had Dennis Ward there, and you know, actually, it was quite fun to make this album. Lots of discussion as well. You know, lots of trying out stuff, and we had a pre-production which we kind of skipped the albums before, you know, because with the five of us, without Kai and Michael, we've been like this super running machinery, you know, we've been this machine working perfectly together. We could just send stuff over the internet, and you know, which makes it very convenient and fast, because most of the times we just had 3 months to record.
Mhm.
And but the downside is you don't have so much time to try out stuff. There's not much time for mistakes, you know. So before, we recorded everything digitally, and yeah, and this time we tried a lot of things, and also remarkable things you can't recreate again, you know, because for instance, Danny, he came up with this idea to bring in Ingo for the album, because he said, like, when this is like the so-called reunion album, which it isn't in my opinion anymore, but by the time when we're thinking of it, he said, well, at least, you know, from all the original members, there's one guy missing, and it's Ingo.
Right.
I want to kind of involve him somehow to the record, and he came up with this nice idea to organize his old drum kit.
oh,
So he would bring in the old drum kit of Ingo from the 80s, and then, you know, one thing comes to the other. So Charlie came up, yeah, but when we go this way, we record it to tape. You know, we're not doing it on the computer. We recorded to tape, and so and that was building up, you know. Then when it came to the guitars, we've been like, I told Charlie, hey, listen, you know, for years I'm collecting this old school 80s equipment, you know, like old multi-effects and amplifiers and the stuff that was like really nice in the 80s, which is vibey and giving you a retro feel. And so he was like, yeah, just bring it on. And oh, that's fun. I
I don't
did.
know what, I'm sorry, I don't know what.
He's there.
Yeah,
I
he's there.
told you. I told
Strange.
you.
I just
I have no idea.
Sorry. What happened?
That's brilliant.
Life is fun, huh?
Leave it that way. It's fun.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I don't know what
Aye,
happened.
aye, aye.
That's brilliant.
Well,
I
now
just
you've seen it all.
Well, can you do Stonehenge or something? You know, do you have more options? You know, just in case.
I have no idea what happened.
I just click in something for
I look so
share
small.
both screens and this coming up. I don't
There
know.
was someone just opened a together mode or something.
I have no idea. Well, welcome.
Oh, there we are again.
Yeah, but yeah.
Aye, aye, aye.
Wasn't me, but it was fun.
Sorry.
How did you get from one singer to three?
Well, just naturally, you know, Michael came back and Kai came back, and suddenly you have three singers. You know, that's
That's
I gotta say, it
Really
works,
cool.
It works great. You know, the whole thing with the reunion. I wouldn't even call it reunion anymore because it is just like all the original members and the working band, which was already together for almost 20 years. You know, so I would say it was just a great addition. You know, it was like this working machinery, as I said before, which worked perfectly. We had great tours, you know, and then with the addition of Kai and Michael, it gave us even more range musically, you know, because we already had this wide range. You know, Helloween is known for having a lot of rock songs and speed metal songs, and there's lots of variety in the music.
Yeah.
But then even when you have more singers and more guitar players, it's a great addition. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening. You can't recreate with just 5 members or 3 or whatever. You know, so and also more songwriters. You know, and with all these singers, I have to say, when I heard the first time Michael and Andy singing together, especially those voices are blending so well with each other. You know, you have Andy with this very unique character. Nobody sings like Andy Darius. You know, he stands out from anywhere. You know, you can clearly hear who he is, and then you have Michael Kiske with his splendid vocal technique and everything. When they would sing together, you're getting goosebumps because it does something magical. You know, and then, you know, and for the live shows also, we had this Walls of Jericho medley where Kai was singing, and you know, he has so much energy. I'm always impressed by his energy, and he always has this spitting voice, you know, and this raspy spitting voice.
Cool.
And
I
so,
like his voice.
yeah, and then you have like 3 guitar players which have a nice tone and everything, you know. So it's everything is blending so well together, and Charlie also tried to do that for the album as well. So it was nice.
How do you find out who's gonna sing who? Which song?
Yeah, because it's difficult, I think.
Because it's
Yeah,
it's different voices, but it's the same music, like, you know.
Yeah, you know, the thing is we've been lucky in that term of having producers. You know, we had Charlie and Dennis who took care of that, also for the guitar part, because they were like, you know, Charlie came up with this nice idea. He told me once before we started recording the guitars, he told me, hey, you know what, I saw you a couple of times playing live, and I was blown away. I liked the energy, and everything I experienced was magical. You know, there's this. You have to know that Helloween is one of the last like real rock and roll bands. There's lots of chaos.
The good old.
Yeah, there's lots of chaos going on stage, you know, and then sometimes we have these magical shows where everything works out great, you know, like the chaos is perfectly in control, but somehow it's doing something.
It's
And
just melting in.
melting in, right? And so Charlie experienced that, and he said, like, naturally, in a way, you just the the vocals and the guitars, you naturally combine that to a very nice range of musicality, and I want to recreate this live feeling in the chaos and the magic on the album. And
Right.
so he told me, when we're starting recording the guitars, I want you to start with the first 5 songs, just you, and you record everything you like, every guitar
Okay.
solo, every rhythm guitar, everything, just as you were the sole guitar player.
Oh.
And when we're done, we're
Cool.
sending these 5 songs to the other studio where Kai was waiting for them, and he would do the same thing. And I remember one time he just called me during the production, and he told me, "Hey, listen, what have you done? There's already everything recorded. What should I do here?" And I told him, "Listen, it's Charlie's idea, and I like it very much. Just do the
Sure.
same thing. Just
Right.
mute all the tracks I've recorded and do the same thing." And he eventually did. And then also, when we've been done with that, I would record the next 5 songs while Kai was working on the first 5 songs, and so on. And when we've been done, Charlie took all the tracks to Tenerife to record all the songs with Vikey, doing the same thing. And so in the end, he would kind of decide what recordings are creating the vibe he
Okay.
was experiencing from the live show. And he kind of did the same thing with the vocals as well.
Ah.
So, which was nice, because in the end, when we heard the mixes, there were surprises in there. But when you hear a song like Angels, and suddenly you hear in between the vocal lines some lead guitar melodies, some fills coming in, and I heard clearly that's Kai.
Yeah.
And it wasn't planned. It was just like he was just trying to add stuff to form the songs to his liking, and I did the same thing, and Vikey did the same thing. So there were all these like little surprises, like one chord changing or something. With like, well, that's not how the song was supposed to be, but it's actually really cool. So there was a lot of
Process.
spontaneous ideas coming up.
That's pretty cool. And about this spontaneous idea, you say the video Skyfall is the most expensive, I think, and elaborated from Helloween career, right?
It might be, yeah. It took the longest. I think it took 6 months until it was finished, with like all this CGI programming. But funny story here, the last year when we've recorded the video, the good thing is, everybody's talking about pandemic and everybody's
Right.
getting in a bad mood and stuff.
Of
But I
course.
have to say, for us, it's been kind of a lucky moment in a sense of making this video, because um, it gave us more time to do such a video, because normally we would have had to release the album and go on tour, and there wouldn't have been clearly that amount of time to create such a CGI masterpiece. And the funny thing is that the pandemic stroke, and we this whole video recording was more or less a family meeting, because we wouldn't see each other for quite a while. And
Yeah.
when we got to see each other again, the video was something on the side. It was like more, everybody was happy to see each other and being socializing with each other, like the whole band being back together, which was quite nice. And then it was like, oh
Right.
yeah, and there's this video we should do too.
Cool. That's
But
pretty cool.
I've seen you sometimes, and every time you're going on stage, everybody's smiling and
Very nice.
laughing and
Having
have
fun.
fun. I've been to many concerts, and not many bands do that. You
Yeah,
always
I mean,
like you're playing for the last time, every time.
yeah, it's fun for us, and even if you're like, sometimes, of course, I'm way more on the cooler side sometimes, but with this band, it's hard to not laugh, I mean, you have, especially with guys like Marcus or
Yes.
or Kiske, they would always like bump into me, when they see like my face is kind of cool and I'm like into the music, I'm not so much, you also have to know I'm very short-sighted, so most of the times I don't really see the audience well. For me, it's like there's
Yes.
this there's this like broad colorful something, like, and which makes it sometimes hard to connect with the audience, but
Right.
then you, like, these guys would bump into me, like, and would make fun with me, or Michael would come, or Marcus, they would bite me in the shoulder or something,
Okay.
so you can't be serious on a Helloween stage, it's impossible.
Yeah,
No.
that's true. Actually, you've been playing here in Oslo, in Norway. We are
Tons of
in
rock.
Norway.
Yeah.
Yes, in Tons of Rock, we was there, of course, and
Oh
actually we
yeah,
took
true.
you guys pictures, a lot of pictures, very cool pictures actually. But it was really fun when I don't know if you're still using these balloons, pumpkins balloons, because it was really, I want to have one, but the guy beside of us take it. He said, "No, this is mine."
But it was
And
really
Yeah,
big.
very cool. You still having
it's
this?
it's it's rare. It's rare gems, they're
Very
gone
cool.
as soon as we shoot them out.
It was chaos out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We like to create chaos. Especially nowadays, where you, like, on all these festivals, you have, like, all these serious dark metal bands.
Yeah,
Right.
Everybody is so serious, and I
exactly.
think that there was always kind of the agenda here for Halloween to kind of just um, um turn it
Break,
around or twist it
break it
somehow,
up a
right?
little bit.
Yeah. So and also we like to not taking ourselves too serious.
Right. And this in this European tour you're going to make, we hope, in 2022. You started in Norway actually, 25th
25
25th
of
March.
March.
Do you have something different to make? For example, the stage. It was really cool for me in Tons of Rock 2 years, 1 year, 2 years ago. But this time, is a different decoration and stage, or will
Oh,
be almost the
yeah.
same.
I mean, of course, it will be different. That's for sure. But it's just too early to talk about it. Tomorrow the album comes out. That's like at
Oh
the
yeah.
moment the hot topic here.
I hear
So, and
it.
then
Oh, album.
yeah, and then and we've started kind of talking about a possible set list,
Okay.
but that will be a long procedure as well, because the longer the band is around, the harder it is to make, like, a compact, very nice set list. And
Yeah.
there are lots of demands. We kind of listening to our fans as well, but then on the other hand, we just want to play what we want to play. So it's always a back and forth thing, and it's just too early to talk about that.
So when you're coming out with new music, do you listen to your own music then, or nah?
I have to say, normally I don't do that. Normally, I because I'm never satisfied.
Okay.
Like, as an artist, you always kind of on the perfectionist side. You always want to, I think I was never really happy with any of the albums I was playing on, even a long time before Helloween. Like, I started out very early as a studio guitar player for other people, recording different types of music and albums, and I was never satisfied, because I'm always thinking later on, that could have been better, or the mixing could have been better, so it's really hard to listen to my own music, and but this time somehow I think I might listen to the whole album again, because I had this moment when we had the press release, and we had a Zoom meeting with lots of people from the press, and we had the album streamed. So that was the first time when I were able to listen to the whole album, from the first to the last song, and it was the first moment where I thought, oh wow, this is actually pretty good, which I
You,
never
you get
experienced.
satisfied.
Yeah, and because there was a long time in between the recording, the mixing, and then when we had this live stream, and then after that I started to listen back to old albums, like Rabbit Don't Come Easy and Keep Off the Seven Keys to Legacy and all these albums, and I figured the more time there is in between, the more I like them, because
Okay.
because you forget about all these little details when
Yeah.
you're, like, coming out of the production. You can hear every detail, and you're into every detail, and there's so much stuff you don't like, because
Mm.
you would never stop recording, you would never stop the mixing process, you know. But when there's a lot of time in between, you forget about these things and you kind of experience them newly, you know. And that happened with this record, and I must say I'm really happy about that. Of course, there's always something you would like to do better, always.
Always.
But I have to say, I'm pretty happy about it.
Do you still play keyboard?
A lot. Yeah, I'm collecting synths from the 80s, you know, like old
Really?
analog and digital
Oh.
Very
stuff.
good.
And yeah, there's lots of synth stuff, you know. Like
Yeah.
I have this huge new wave and new romantics background, you know, and
Oh.
also you know, when I grew up in the 80s, you know, and I remember I would consciously starting listening to music on the backseat on the backseat of my mother's car, you know, when she were driving me to kindergarten, and she would just listen to the radio, and in the 80s a lots of this stuff would come up, like Tears for Fears and Duran
Oh, yeah.
Duran,
Cool.
and then
I remember these times.
yeah, and then I remembered when In the Air Tonight from Phil Collins came out, you know, that was a magical moment for me, being like, I don't know, I was 5 years old or something, you know. So a very magic moment, and all these bands and artists, Peter Gabriel, he used like samplers and stuff, which was for a young kid like me, which was like nice technology, you know, very satisfying technology, like for the kids nowadays with their cell phones and the internet and everything, you know, that comes along with it. So for me, it was synthesizers and samplers, and then later electrical guitar. And you know, in the 80s there was a lot of technology coming up, which
How
was
do you get from Duran to Freedom Call? That's a big
Difference.
big difference.
yeah, you know, for me it's first of all, I have to say I'm not a guitar player, you know. I'm an artist. I love art. I love visual arts a lot. I do a lot of photography and filmmaking, and I'm having like a wide and wild taste of music, you know. I would listen to Scandinavian indie music, you know, a lot,
Really?
because they're great artists out there, especially in Norway and in Sweden, you know. And so you know, for me it's about good music and good art. So I would never put stuff away just because it's not the genre I'm in, you know.
No.
And then also it's life takes you somewhere. For me it's like riding a wave, you know. You're starting out, so I was starting out singing. I was a singer for a long time, playing synths, and then you know, then I would discover Michael Schenker, for
Yeah,
instance,
do
when I
you
was
like? I know that.
I like
yeah,
Michael.
so
I think it's great.
so yeah, so when I was 13 years old, I discovered Michael Schenker, and his playing, his sound, it hit me just in the heart. And then I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to speak the language of music with the guitar that way. I'm still working on that, but you know, so it's leading us somewhere. And then from that scene, I came into jazz rock and funk rock, and you know, I was listening to a lot of Toto, Saga, Chicago, and
We tried
then
most of it. So.
yeah, and then I never forgot about pop music. You know, I still love pop music, and then at one point I would start playing out in studios, you know, making productions with other bands and other artists. And I was kind of this young Dr. Midnight coming late night in the studio and playing guitar for artists, you know. And there was a lot of, even some Turkish pop group I was recording albums for, you know. And so lots of variety. And then at one time I would start out playing cover bands, you know, like top 40, being on tour all year. And that was the time where I met Dan Zimmerman and Chris Bay of Freedom Call. They were checking me out somehow. I met Chris a couple of times. He liked my singing, by the way. He when he met me, I was playing acoustic guitar and singing, performing as a singer-songwriter, you know. He loved that. And so we would meet sometime, you know. I was very young by that time. And then when I was 19 years old, they checked me out. They were coming to some show with my cover band.
Okay.
And I saw suddenly Chris and Dan standing there, you know, watching me, you know. And and that moment, I knew something would come up, because why are they watching me that way,
Yeah.
And then they asked me, they told me, hey, listen, we have this demo tape, and we might get a record deal, and we want you to come by and rehearse with us, and we want to see if you can play this like fast double bass 16 guitar notes. And I remember the first song we played, it was Over the Rainbow, which was like the fastest song back then,
Yeah,
they
that's
they
true.
had, and so yeah, it worked. So and they kind of introduced me to the power metal scene, because I never heard of that before. Of course I knew Helloween, the name came along, but
Right.
I wasn't clearly into that type of music by that time. But I was always open for good music, and I liked what they were doing, and so we went on tour a couple of times, and then at one point I would leave the band to go into another direction, and then Charlie Balfriend would call me up one day, and asking me if I could speak to Vikey about Halloween. So that's how it happened.
That's what happened. That's pretty cool. And talking about the tour, I know if it's going to release next or make it next year. I'm from Mexico. I've been in Mexico in your concerts too, in many places. But do you contemplate South America, Mexico, or Latin America countries? Because
Well,
I know just Europe now, the tour.
I'm sure. I mean, it's all coming down to when this pandemic is over. That's the
Yeah.
thing, because it's really hard to make plans. And also, I was very, very excited to go on tour, and then it didn't happen. It's kind of sad for a touring musician. It's
Right. Yeah.
so. But I'm sure. I'm pretty sure when everything goes back to normal, or when these kind of concerts are possible to do. Of course, we will do a world tour. We've been talking about Asia as well, and there will be Latin America, of course. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love Mexico.
Do you like Mexico? You've been there in the city, right? I think maybe with Teotihuacan in the pyramids.
Yeah, I've been there, and I've been there for holidays in Monterrey at one point,
Oh,
because
cool.
I fell in love with a girl from there at one point, and so I was kind of
Really
so I
nice.
was kind of visiting there, and so yeah, I just love Latin America. Brazilian fans are crazy, Mexican fans are crazy. The whole Central and Latin America is great
Look,
for heavy metal bands.
Loco.
Yeah,
So,
local.
locos.
Absolutely.
So you like Mexican food, and you've been in many places too, I think.
Yeah, well, Mexican food is hard for me because I'm vegan, so it's hard to find good food for me. But I like the place. I like the people. For me, it's more about the people than the food. I like that people are everywhere in the world. They're different, and so I kind of like that. And I'm also thinking this is a eye opener for a lot of people when they start traveling. That they get out of their bubble and they experience different opinions and different feelings, and I like that.
Sure, that's pretty cool. I like it then. And about this new album, I know it's 3D Dimension, the LP. It's actually different packages. It's not just like a simple record, like always making many artists do. So tell us about this, please. The art of who make this cover album and stuff.
Yeah,
Please.
it was Eliran Cantor, who is also based here in Berlin. And at one point when we've been talking about the cover work, we knew that we wanted to have real artwork, not some like CGI digital stuff, because with the recording we already went with this retro vibe, and we wanted to create something that's kind of remarkable. And then from the music side, and then on the other hand, we thought, like, if you make good music, it needs very nice packaging too. And having an artist creating a cover like this
Mm.
gives more value to the music as well, because I was remembering back then, when we've been, and you guys did for sure too, collecting vinyl, you know.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
This,
I
we
this,
have
have
many.
I have a lot of them.
yeah, so this special moment when you have a real artwork in your hands at this size, you know, it just gives more value to the music inside, because it's the whole thing is a piece of art, you know, and it's a snapshot of the moment in an artist's life, you know, and it's something that stays there for quite a while, you know,
Right.
and for some artists it might stay forever, you know, if you're
Yeah.
talking classical music. So having some visual art there was something we really wanted to do, and then we were checking out different artists, and Elren by far delivered the deepest sketch from
Mm.
what we wanted, you know, like if you watch his pictures, if you just look what he's doing, it's really deep stuff, you know. And I kind of like that he would go like into a very dark side, but he also could bring in some light. And there we are again, because he does a lot of stuff for death and thrash metal bands, you know.
Right.
And I found it kind of interesting that some happy Helloween band come in there, letting him do this deep artwork which shines and is not so aggressive and angry and evil, you know. And for me it's just magical. I'm just happy that we decided in the end to go with him, you know.
Right.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. A really, really nice record. I hear it because Metal Blast sent us this record yesterday, actually. So we hear all the album a little bit, not
Yeah,
complete the songs because we was today with the interview, but I
yeah,
think it's really cool album.
yeah. I
Different
was
sound,
just gonna ask, yeah, well, what's your feeling about the sound, and what's your
very different to the other ones, but I think it's powerful.
Yeah, more powerful for
Yeah,
me.
powerful, and you see that.
Light and powerful at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool.
You hear the touch of Michael Kiske, and of course all the guys, Kai Hansen and Andy Deris. It's very different, but I think a touch for every one of you guys.
And it's a little crazy because you have three of the greatest metal singers ever in the same band.
absolutely,
So
yeah.
that's insane.
And it works, and we like each other, which, you know,
That's cool.
which
So
is great.
they will keep together forever. The three singers, or just is for a court
Just a
period?
project or something.
No, well, you know, forever is a very strong word, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
But I have to say, I just hope that we stay forever, you know. I mean, without Michael and Kai, we managed to stick together for a long time, you know. And you have lots of like nice characters and adult people here, and I'm just thinking. And also, I have to say, between Michael Kiske and myself, we have from the beginning we have this connection, you know, like it's not only a business trip or something. It's
right.
really like when there's nothing going on, or no tour, no music, whatever, we would keep in touch and we would talk, you know, and we would be on the phone and stuff. So which is really nice, because it's a family. It really is. It's I realized that after some while, because, you know, then when you're in the band for almost 20 years, in my case it's almost half of my life, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And at one point you're figuring out, hey, this is my family. This is not only a business relationship, you know.
Right.
It's really family, and you can clearly tell that you're missing them, you know. So yeah, so I'm just hoping that we stick together that way, because it's very powerful and very unique, you know.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah, if there are problems, you can solve them, you know. It's not a big deal, you know.
Hey,
Wait,
sorry.
that was the door.
Yeah, ghost. No, it's a little wind.
Yeah.
And tomorrow you're going to make a big party. Everybody, they're going to be together celebrating this release
Yeah,
album.
it's not possible because we're
Oh,
living in different places as well. We're not
oh,
even living in the same country.
really?
So yeah, so we all spread out in Europe.
Ah, I
But
didn't know.
yeah, but we always keeping in touch. We would send emails, we would be on the phone and stuff, and then tomorrow is the day. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
by the way, for you and the guys who are watching, tomorrow at 10 p.m. Central European time, I will be live on the Helloween Instagram.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of celebrating with the fans because the last 5 weeks I had to answer questions for the press and for people who
Right,
would help us promote the album as well.
right.
But this time I thought, well, it would be great to answer questions of the fans.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and by then a lot of them would have the album already and they can react to that, and I'm kind of looking forward to that, and maybe someone of the band is tuning into some other guys.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that. We can see you. I have you on Instagram. So Arlen Johansen. I
Yeah,
follow you.
perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, check it out.
What
Yeah.
time you're going to make this live? You don't know yet?
At 10 p.m.
10.
10 p.m. Okay, I will
Yeah.
check. We have the same
And
time
how
zone.
do you like the forest?
The forest.
Here, behind.
The screenshot?
Oh, the screenshot was nice. Oh, I like that. I would
First
have
time.
preferred if you had more entertaining stuff coming up too. There was like this one moment.
Yeah. It was stuck in that moment.
But I have
Yeah.
no idea. I just click
But
and
it's but a good thing you never stop learning. I just figured this is something new here. Maybe let me see if I can find that one again.
if you can see in the icon in the corner, in the right
Yeah,
corner,
yeah.
they say it's just
So
in the region here. But
I recently had a Zoom call with Charlie Bauerfeind, and he would have I don't know, was it I think Rock in Rio. He had the Rock in Rio stage with Helloween
cool.
Oh.
as his background.
That's
And so
better.
we would be there for like 1 hour talking or something, and then at one point he said like, hey, hold on, I need to go to the toilet. So he stood up and he went to the back of his room, and he kind of suddenly blended into the stage.
Really?
He was kind of disappearing in the stage, because the background
Nice.
was the stage,
That's
which was
really
really
cool.
nice.
It's too much
Yeah.
light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much
Yeah,
light.
it's better like this, I think. So that's pretty cool then. I don't know. This is a new thing for me, and I just click on something
Never
and
seen it
it's
in my
coming
life.
along. So I
Yeah.
just like what I did. I don't know. Well, okay. Tell us
So
something.
can
funny.
you
Sorry.
see how many people are watching now?
Here I have no idea. I have to.
No private.
That's why I was a little in the telephone here.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Let me see because I share on Facebook, but
Yeah. Would be actually nice if you would include some users' questions as well.
sure. Let me
When they're
see.
watching.
Actually,
live.
I asking them for if they want to have a question.
No. Yeah. Just for the future. Not.
Sure. I have no idea.
It's
But
down.
guys, if you want to make a question, please write it. Something. This is something different. I have no idea. Hold on. It's like a post.
Sometimes I hate technology.
Yes.
Yeah. But this way it
She's all
helps.
the computers.
This way it helps.
So
So yeah, do you have any questions to come up? Because I have another interview coming up
There
pretty
is
soon.
no questions for the people, but I don't know how many
it's
people.
coming soon, like, because sometimes it's coming after. So
Yeah. But they are
Yeah.
actually in the radio station.
they're in the
right?
radio now. I can see
Yeah.
them.
But can you record us a message for La Pajarraca? It's a little hard to pronounce, I know.
Pajarraca.
Pajarraca. Yeah.
Radio.
Oh gosh. Can you repeat that, please?
Right. La?
Okay. Or can you write it? Write it to me. That
think
makes
I
it easier, I think.
Let me see here.
Many people have problems with this. So you're
Where-
not the first one.
Where I can write you here, I don't know. This is
Just say La Pajarraca Radio. No.
Yeah, it's here.
That one there, yeah. It's coming up.
See it?
La Pajarraca. Oh, it's really hard to pronounce.
Sorry.
You know,
Marcus did before.
yeah. I'm sure he did well with that.
It's funny
La
name.
Pajarraca.
Pajarraca. Radio.
La Pajarraca
Yes.
Radio.
Yes.
La Pajarraca. Okay. So is this going to be video or is it audio?
It's the video and I'm recording the audio too.
We're recording
so-
everything in.
Okay. Hi guys. You are listening to La Para. No.
Pajarraca.
La Paja.
You forgot to say name too, if you can.
La Pajarraca Radio. La Paja. That's so hard for me. La Pajarraca Radio.
Yeah.
And it sounds stupid too, you know, for me with my voice. You know?
It's okay.
I just say La Pajarraca Radio. That's
La
easier for me.
Pajarraca. Okay.
Easier for me.
Hi there, this is Sascha from Helloween, and you're listening to La Pajarraca Radio.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Perfect. I
So,
can
easy.
make the addition later. Yes.
Yeah, I tried my best.
That's good.
That was perfect.
I'll dream of that tonight.
Nightmares.
And tell us something funny happened on stage. You know, sometimes many crazy things happen on stage. So
Well, on stage, not so crazy things. You know, most of the time stuff happens off stage. You know, like with traveling and all the stuff that comes with it. You know, and then yeah, lots of crazy stuff happening there. And also in these years, I just realized in a long time, it's so much stuff happened. It's really hard to pick one out. You know, like one story out. Yeah. So I remember though the last tour, Michael kind of fell off stage in the States when we were touring in the US, and nothing happened because he was just lucky. You know, it just looked crazy because he was standing there, and I think he might have had a glass of wine too much. You know, so it was this stage where you had like this big subwoofers, and they were kind of like tied together, you know, which was perfect because when he kind of fell, you know, just like I could see like in slow motion, you know. You know these moments when something it's happening and you have the feeling it's in slow motion, and that was the thing. He was kind of falling because there was this border on stage, you know, and he was falling. And I could see like 21, 22, 23. That's how it looked like, you know. And then in the end, you would just see his boots sticking out of this thing, you know, because he was like kind of cramped in between the subwoofers, you know.
Oh my goodness.
So nothing happened, but it was a real shock because it was what's going on, because he was sticking in there, and you could just see the feet. And
Straight up.
you know, and you know the thing is they just pulled him out, and security guys, and the good thing is when stuff like this happens, and he came up on stage and he was laughing because
Right.
he
Really?
thought because he probably thought himself that must have looked very funny, you know, because it did, but you kind of, you know, first you're shocked, and then you see him climbing back on stage laughing, and you see there's no wound, there's nothing happened, and then you started laughing because it looked funny, you know.
Really nice to have that on video.
Yeah, these kind of things happen sometimes, you know, if you're not careful, you know, careful.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, it's just human beings doing stuff, you know. But on tour with the traveling and everything, you know, there's always funny stuff.
Always
going on.
something happen.
Yeah, and then also at one point when you're like hanging out too much on the airports, you get kind of nuts, you know, like everybody would sit together, we would sit together, and we would start at one point just talking bullshit, you know, which is always very funny, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would always kind of make these word riddles and stuff, you know.
And who is the most crazy in the band? Like making everything, and you are ay.
Um, I don't know who's the most crazy guy, but for sure Marcus is probably the most positive and the most funniest.
Okay.
You know, even when he's not funny, he is
Make it fun.
he's tending to be very funny. You know, and I don't know how he was doing that. Even when he's like, he likes to drink a lot with people, you know. And every time some new crew member comes in, he's like bringing them on his level, you know, for the first
Oh.
time. And we're always like, that's a bad idea, don't do that. And they're like, yeah, but it's nice, it's your bass player, it's fun, you know, let's drink something. And we clearly know who's the winner there, you know.
Yeah,
Because
of course.
and then I don't know how he's doing that, because he would drink so much, and then the next day he would just stand up in the morning and he would be like, hey, yeah, well, that was a funny night, huh?
So he's
You
just
know?
in nice shape in the morning.
Yeah, he's always in a good shape then, but you don't want to see the other guy.
No. Aye, aye, aye.
That's pretty
And
cool.
then you know, and then you have, of course, you have Vikey, who is probably one of the most intelligent people I know, and he's using that for his humor as well. You know, he's always coming up with sentences where you, well, I'm used to that, but a lot of people have to think about it. What did he just say? You know, and I kind of like that from the beginning. You know, that kind of made me feel really comfortable when we've met each other, when I joined the band. You know, and that there was this sense of humor and deepness and intelligence, and I like that.
You feel relaxed
So
when you come in.
yeah, absolutely. I kind of need that, you know.
Yeah.
I need deep subjects, and I need the humor as well, you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I would say Marcus and Vikey are, from the crazy level, they're both pretty equal. And
But it's nice to
and
have some of them in the band. So
what is it?
it's nice to have them in the band, so you don't get
Hey,
like
absolutely.
boring.
Boring.
It's
Yeah.
it's never getting boring, because we're all like we're all like these cartoon characters, you know.
No.
Everybody is his very own and unique character, and you know, you would have Danny, who is always tending to be kind of grumpy, but he isn't, you know. He's a bit this grumpy Smurf, but he's a really nice and lovely guy, but he's always having this look on his face, and he's always kind of having this like little complaints, you know. But he's always in a good mood though, and so you have like, if you watch the Smurfs, you have
Oh yeah,
all of
I watched the
all of them.
Smurfs.
Cool
Yeah,
cartoon.
I
you have
love the
all
Smurfs.
you have probably most of them combined in our band, you know.
Sure, that's pretty cool. I like it. So do you like cartoons things too, or
Yeah, well, I mean, who doesn't, you know? We all and there's another thing that's connecting us with each other, like Kai and Vikey and I, we love Disney, you know. We love Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse cartoons, you know.
cool?
So we're into that, you know. And because it's real life characters, you know, like all these like old cartoons, they have like these real life characters in a
Yeah.
way, you know. You always can connect the dots with some person, you know. And with, the same goes with the Smurfs, you know. Everybody knows a Gargamel, or you know, everybody knows someone who's
You can be
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah,
I like Smurfs. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
cool, and blue.
yeah.
So
For
that's
the
it.
new generations too, because it
So,
was for our generation.
Something you want to add to the interview?
No, I have to leave for the next one. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Thank-
it was nice talking to you, and I hope everything goes well with you in Norway.
Yeah, and you too.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Beautiful country, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have to when you come to Norway, maybe we can see us together. We are going to your concert, so we can give you a tour in the city.
Yeah, that's nice. Or to the mountains. I love the mountains.
Yeah.
We can go. We
No
can
problem.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can keep in touch then. Thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Take
Sascha,
care.
for this interview, and have a great night in Germany.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Cool.